This is part 1 of the interview assignment for Nutrition 498B. And there are a total of 5 questions, which I have saved from the interview link website. And I have a timer for 2 minutes for each question. There are a total of 5 questions, 2 minutes, and then it'll be 10 minutes in total. I will go ahead and start. The first question is, what attracted you to dietetics? I feel that the one major point that attracted me most to dietetics was the versatility of the major. At first, I wasn't looking at college. I wasn't looking to further a secondary tier of education other than going to culinary school, because that was my first passion. Growing up, I was always surrounded by food. But unfortunately, due to my parents, they wanted me to choose something a little more stable, something that they could feel comfortable financially backing. And at first, I was at a loss because I didn't know if there was a major out there for me that combined both my love for food and my love for helping people. And that's how I found dietetics, because I felt it was the easiest way and most natural way to combine the two loves of my life, helping people and food. Okay. The next question. What is the hardest course you have taken as part of your dietetics program? I feel that the hardest course for me that I took during my dietetics program was definitely my chemistry classes. By far, none of them were easy. I did not do a very good, they were not easy. They were definitely the most challenging classes that I've ever taken, especially coming into college from not taking chemistry for a good 2 years since my sophomore year of high school. So being thrown into all of the levels of chemistry, it made it very difficult for me to adjust and think about things in the way that my teachers required me to. But I feel that what got me through these classes was my ability to find a way to connect it back to why I'm doing this. A lot of people would say to me or tell me, I even thought as well as myself, that these classes were weeding out classes, that took out people who weren't committed to the major and weren't committed to finishing. And for me, that just strengthened my resolve for why I wanted to pursue dietetics. I focused on what the actual real-world applications are for this and for the chemistry, and I tried to connect it back to how would I be able to disseminate this information from the chemistry jargon down to a regular everyday person, hopefully through counseling. The next question is, what are your goals for the next year if you are granted an internship? How do you plan to accomplish these goals? Next year, if I'm granted an internship, my first goal would be to increase my knowledge of nutrition and also to develop a more strong foundation for clinical experience, because I do not have a wide extension of clinical experience, and I found that it would be really useful and helpful for me to see another side of nutrition and dietetics in which you handle patients on a clinical basis. I'm much more familiar with food service, with holding a number of food service jobs in the industry, and also with community nutrition. I've held some community lectures. I do an extended amount of community service with a community service organization that I'm part of called Alpha Phi Omega. And through those 2 experiences, I feel that I have a good understanding of food service and also community nutrition, but I don't have a very wide knowledge or wide backing for clinical nutrition. And I'm most excited and looking forward to developing that background, hopefully through an internship. And The next question is, dietitians are taught to menu plan and do calculations like a computer. Why do we need dietitians? I feel that menu planning and calculations, whether it be caloric intakes or just the exchange values through 24-hour recalls, I feel that's only one half of the equation, and it's mainly acts as a skeleton for what really is going on. For what dietitians, or for what I feel dietitians actually do, is that they work with people in order to create nutrition-related goals in order to help improve their health status. And the most important part there is that we work with people. And although it may be easier, it might be more cost efficient not to hire a person for jobs that a computer could do, but if there's one thing that computers can't do is that they can't connect with humans on a way that a human could with another person. The type of relationship that you build with a client or with people in your scope of practice, that's much more important than it is just spewing back numbers at them, just relaying information. Anyone can do that, but really what sets apart a good dietitian, I feel, is their ability to empathize with patients and for them to develop a connection in which they build trust and they're able to effectively tackle these goals that they want to accomplish together. Of course, getting the patient on board and supporting them and backing them up emotionally, because change is a very emotional thing, and unfortunately computers cannot, computers or technological devices like that can't provide. And then the last question, what are your interests within nutrition? My biggest interest within nutrition is definitely towards community. Originally, what really sparked my interest in nutrition after thinking about it and getting into the major was the wide scope of people that you can affect through nutrition. And I feel that nutrition, and good nutrition at that, is a right that all people should have, and to see people around me that do not have access to good food or do not have access to food at all, and while I do, it just seems very wrong to me. And I feel that it would help, focusing more on communities and serving the communities would help shape the our nutritionist dietitian perception that we only work in offices. But because there are a lot of dietitians that do work in the field with grassroots services, community nutrition, working with schools and school systems, which I'm most interested in, school systems. Because growing up, I saw a lot of my friends in my school depend on these meals, where I saw it as a choice. And I feel that for people to depend on one outlet of food and food coming to them, it should be good food if that's the only thing that they're depending on. Whereas I see them just getting like really like cheap food, like grilled cheese sandwiches that come in baggies, and just really like lackluster, high sodium, just fattening foods. It just saddens me to the fact that people don't have access to these types of things. So the thing that I'm most interested in with nutrition is being able to bridge that gap between socioeconomic statuses and different populations. 5 seconds left to spare. All right, thank you. This has been Crystal May Aurelio for the Nutrition Part 1 interview assignment for 498B. Thank you.